Hello, I'm Ariel Castleman, and I'm here today to talk about comprehension and the struggles of comprehension and how to teach comprehension. What exactly comprehension is it is the ability to understand text and process of what is being read. Comprehension is a hard thing to master. Really depending on the level, your reading level. For someone that is on fourth grade reading level, might not be able to comprehend something that is of seventh grade level. Successful comprehension involves a clear, complete representation of the meaning of the text. They really understand the text. I like to tell my fourth graders to visualize an image of what they are reading. Um, we all read for different purposes, and sometimes it is highly misunderstood if we have a fluent reader that can decode the words that they are good readers, but that's most of the time, sometimes that's not true. Um, Everyone has a purpose of reading, and some choose to simply be entertained. Ways that we can boost comprehension in our students is for one is to overall comprehension of language. This is something that is taught at a very early age, even before children begin to read. I'm a firm believer in when they say babies, don't talk to them in baby talk. Talk to them normal. That's how you learn grammar instead of baby talk. I have fourth graders that when they speak, they can't use complete sentences or their grammar is off in some way. One way in fixing that is start with the grammar at correcting them when they're speaking if they say it in the wrong context, and also vocabulary, which leads to also teaching vocabulary can help boost comprehension. There's many ways to teach vocabulary. You could use graphic organizers, pictures, organizers. Um, what I use for my fourth graders, we have a vocabulary test every Friday, and I play a game. It's called Vocabulary Basketball. And at the beginning of the week, we go over these words, we break them down into syllables, we look for prefixes, suffixes. We do a lot of different things with these words. We look at different, there might be different meanings of the word. We break it down. We look at different ways the words might be, like adding a suffix, different ways that we can make the word. Sometimes, or most of the time, poor comprehension leads to it has poor vocabulary skills because when they're reading, they don't know what the word means. So sometimes kids just skip over it. I've seen that happen before where they'll read a sentence and they don't know the word. They know how to pronounce it and decode it, but they don't really know anything about it. So what I like to do is I like to break it down. I like to make it fun. I use hand motions. I let the kids come up with their own hand motions. We play games and we use a lot of context clues when reading. I try to go back and I ask them, hey, what does this word mean? And they will say, I don't know. And I'm like, okay, well, let's go back. Let's look at the paragraph. Let's look what the paragraph is telling us. Let's look at clues and we can figure out what this word means. Our next thing is thinking strategies. In my own class, I have used the KWL chart. We do a lot of thinking aloud and we do a lot of connecting with something that the students have seen or experienced. I really like the part where we can visualize. I know this week we read a story where it was about a man on the moon, and it was about a boy who was sitting under a tree dreaming, and he had a dream about a woman coming to Earth. And I had made my kids, I made them sit still, close their eyes, and think about a young boy sitting under a tree dreaming. And I was so excited when I realized at the end of the story that my kids could really grasp what was going on and deeper thinking. It's very important to teach thinking strategies because I'm a firm believer that this is one thing that also leads to great comprehension when reading. Practice reciprocal teaching. I do this a lot in my classroom. I try to aim for about 4 times a week. I have my groups into 4, and which is one is the questioner, summarizer, clarifier, and predictor. I also let each one rotate. They love this. They really do. The questioner, they ask questions. I let them read about a page and a half, and then they'll stop and they'll talk about it. The questioner will ask the questions. The summarizer will sum it up. The clarifier will addresses the questioner's issues that the questioner asks, and the predictor makes a prediction what will happen next. I really, really love this. The whole point of reciprocal is talking, discussing. They all really get into this a lot. And also, as a teacher, it's fun to see them really talking also and discussing and just understanding what is going on in the text. And also, another thing that helps boost comprehension skills is directly teaching those skills, such as sequencing, story structure, drawing a conclusion, figurative language. You can do this as whole class, and then once it's mastered, it can be something that is independently. And then it's so exciting when they do get it. They're like, oh, Miss Castleman taught me this. I know that my book is a sequence because it says first, second, then, or after, or chronological order, or I know that it is figurative language because I see a simile in it because it uses like, or metaphor because it uses as. It's comparing two things. A lot of these are done with teachers reading aloud first and then pointing that out. Hey guys, this is chronological order. Do you see that it says first and then the next it says second and third? That is chronological order. This also teaches reading comprehension, but it also can be even in writing. I've seen this help also because in writing, I see some of my students, they'll go in order. They'll use chronological order. They'll use different figurative language in their writing to boost it, to make it more exciting. I just love reading altogether, and I love to teach reading to my students and how they can really dig deep and understand. I always tell when I ask questions when we're doing reciprocal reading or in group time, I always tell them I ask them questions that are directly in the text, but I also will ask them questions that make them think deeper. And this in the return will boost their comprehension skills.